something has shifted inside the Indiana Fever without an announcement, without a press conference declaring it. But if you have watched the last 3 games closely, there is no other way to read it. Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White have been locked in a season-long disagreement over how this offense should run. White wanted ball movement, read and react, a system built on the kind of motion offense she has run since her Vanderbilt and Connecticut days. Clark wanted the ball in the pick and roll with Aaliyah Boston, attacking downhill, putting the defense in a bind possession after possession. For most of this season, White's vision won out, and the results were inconsistent at best. But over the last 3 games, something changed. The ball started moving through Clark and Boston almost exclusively. And in those 3 games, Indiana has looked like the most dangerous team in the league. The power struggle appears to be over, and Caitlin Clark appears to have won it. Let's start with what actually happened on the court. Against the Washington Mystics, with the game on the line, Sophie Cunningham ignored a play designed for Kelsey Mitchell and put the ball in Clark's hands instead. Clark hit the game winner. Then came the Chicago Sky game, where Clark and Boston ran the pick and roll so relentlessly that they became the first 2 teammates in WNBA history to both post 30-point double-doubles in the same game. Clark also extended 3 separate league records in that same outing. Then came Connecticut, where Clark dropped 25 points without a single free throw attempt while Connecticut tried to bully her physically all night. And Sophie Cunningham slammed the door late with 11 straight points off that same Clark-Boston gravity. 3 games, 3 different opponents. The same blueprint every single time. Clark and Boston, pick and roll, downhill, relentless. And here's the part that should not be ignored. Listen to how Clark herself described what was happening once the ball started running through her and Boston in that Chicago game.
Also, I feel like I always know where Aaliyah is. I think we got a little telepathy now, so hopefully we get that going more too.
Telepathy. That is the word Clark used to describe what she and Boston have built running this exact action. Over and over, possession after possession. Not a system someone installed for them. A connection they built themselves on the floor in real time. The more the ball stayed in their hands together, and the more that connection got used, the better this team played. Now here's where it gets interesting, because for most of this season, that connection was not the priority. The offense ran through motion concepts, through Kelsey Mitchell isolations, through sets that did not feature Clark and Boston attacking downhill together nearly enough. And the results showed it. Blown leads, inconsistent execution, a team that looked disjointed far more often than it looked dangerous. It took an avalanche of pressure, an avalanche of moments where the offense clearly was not working before the approach actually changed. And once it did, look at what happened. Here's the thing about Stephanie White's own locker room language after these wins. Listen to how she talks about it now compared to earlier in the season.
All right, y'all. Woo! Really good job. Okay, really good job. We weathered the storms. Okay, we came together. Y'all, I heard you more in huddles and in timeouts than I've heard you all year long. That matters. That career high 34 points off turnovers. Okay, we outscored them 58-48 in the paint. Okay, a lot of really good stuff. 19 second chance points. Okay, again, a lot of really good stuff. And most importantly, we stacked today and we got better.
Notice what is happening there. White is talking about points in the paint, points off turnovers, a career high for Boston. All real numbers from a real win. But the engine behind every single one of those numbers was Clark and Boston, running pick and roll relentlessly, the exact approach White had been hesitant to fully commit to for most of the season. She is praising the results without naming the adjustment that produced them. Whether that is an oversight or something else, the timing speaks for itself. The numbers only started looking like this once the offense started looking like this. Now here's something Aaliyah Boston actually said in her own press conference that's worth sitting with. A reporter asked her directly about the pattern of blown leads, and she pointed to something specific.
Like in the WNBA since you've been in the league, just because of how talented the talent is?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just make sure that you stay level-headed. Like, if you get too hyped or you get nervous, and that obviously can show up in your play, the way you score the ball, the way you defend. So for us, it's about continuing to stay that consistent.
Little lapses, both teams capitalizing. That is Boston, in her own words, identifying exactly the kind of inconsistency that disappears the moment Clark and Boston are the engine of the offense instead of a piece of it. That is Aaliyah Boston, one of the most respected voices in that locker room, publicly questioning the preparation behind her own coaching staff system. Not Clark, Boston. The same Boston who has now posted a career high and made WNBA history running. Pick and roll with Clark over these last 3 games. When your franchise center is openly questioning the scouting and preparation behind your defensive system, and your offense only starts clicking once it abandons the approach that same coach has run since her Vanderbilt days, you do not need a press conference announcement to know who won this argument. Think about the timeline here. 10 games into the season, this team looked lost. Kelsey Mitchell dominating possessions, Clark standing in the corner more than anyone wanted to see, blown leads against teams that should not have been competitive. And then, game by game, the ball started finding its way back into the Clark and Boston pick and roll. The Mystics game, the Chicago game, the Connecticut game, every single one of those wins traces back to the same 2 players running the same action that White had been reluctant to fully lean into all season long. Nobody is going to stand at a podium and admit a power struggle happened. That is not how this works. Coaches do not concede publicly. They just quietly start running what works and let the results speak. And the results over these last 3 games have spoken louder than any press conference ever could. Clark and Boston are not just playing well together. They are playing like the 2 best players on the floor every single night, given the freedom to actually play that way. This is what should have been happening from the beginning. Nobody wanted Stephanie White to bring a Connecticut Sun offense to a roster that already had the most electric 2-way talent in the league. The fans did not ask for it. The front office did not need it. What this roster needed was exactly what it is finally getting right now. The ball in Clark's hands. Boston rolling to the rim or popping for an open look. Defenses caught in an impossible bind every single time down the floor. And for 3 straight games, that is exactly what Indiana has delivered. The next stretch of games will tell us whether this was a genuine turning point or a brief stretch that fades the moment the schedule gets harder. But for right now, watching these last 3 games back-to-back, there is only one conclusion that makes sense. Caitlin Clark wanted the offense to run through her and Aaliyah Boston from the start. It took 10 frustrating games to get there, but it is there now. And the version of the Indiana Fever that shows up when that happens is a completely different team than the one we watched in April. What do you think? Has Caitlin Clark finally won the power struggle over how this offense should run? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because we have more coverage of this stretch coming. We will see you in the next one.